Right, good evening, nerds around the world. Welcome to episode 144 of the Nerds Unite as One podcast. I'm your host, Paul English, and today we're going to be revisiting a topic that we did a couple years ago. And yes, I didn't think we fulfilled what the description said we would. We are going to be discussing the land of the Far East, Japan, and how shows and movies from that land impacted us, impacted our childhood, how they influenced us. Joining for that discussion is the fine crew of Colton, Jack, and Mike. Boys, what's going on?
Not much. I'm happy to be here. Like every week, almost every week.
Good to be here.
Hi.
All right. So, guys, let's jump right in on this one. And I think it was last time I remember, the first show that we discussed, we talked about quite a bit, was Power Rangers, which I don't think any of us realized right away until we were much older, that it's actually an adaptation of a long-running series in Japan collectively titled Super Sentai. I think I could say that all of us were fans of it when we were little kids. Maybe some of us stayed fans, some of us got back into it. I don't know. But did it impact you in any way? Did you take any lessons away from Power Rangers? Did it teach you anything? Colton, I'll start with you on that. I know that you were a fan of Power Rangers as a kid when you first saw it, but did you learn anything from it? Did it shape you in any way growing up?
I think it did. Probably what I got out of it most was my affinity for heroic leader figures, I guess you could say. Wait, hold on. Something's up with my computer. Okay, sorry, false alarm. Am I still here?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, false alarm. Something was installing on my computer. I'm like, wait, what the hell? But never mind. We're good now.
Okay.
I developed a bit of a affinity for the heroic leadership kind of role, I guess you could say. I wouldn't exactly call myself a leader. It's something that I think is to be admired, and that's kind of qualities that kids should follow. Like Jason, he's still one of my favorite Rangers. He's definitely my favorite Red Ranger of the entire series. Like some might say he's a boring kind of character, but I always like how he's always stoic, always kind of the stoic heroic figure, trying to always making sure he does the right thing, and that's the kind of qualities you should look for in a leader, I'd say.
Indeed. I would say that Carter Grayson from Lightspeed Rescue is my favorite Red Ranger, but Jason is right behind him. All right, Jack, I don't think you were on for our first.
I don't think so.
All right. So my question is, did you watch Power Rangers growing up? Were you a fan of it? And if so, did you learn anything from it?
Yeah, I was a huge fan of growing up. Power Rangers was my jam. I would go over to my sister's friends, and me and her older brother would hang out and just watch Power Rangers.
Cool.
That was a thing. Like, Power Rangers was the shit back then. Go, Power Rangers!
Yep.
Do. And then a couple of years ago, I got to go to a con and meet Austin St. John.
Nice.
I'm jealous.
And he was really nice. So that was cool.
All right. So my question that remains, Jack, did you learn anything from it? Did it impact you in any way?
Well, I was always into Hero, so it impacted me to try and be nicer and, care for people.
Okay, all right. Mike, obviously you are still a big fan of Power Rangers. I love discussing Power Rangers and Super Sentai. As you can see by the shirt, a Power Rangers themed shirt. Did you take away anything from the show that you might have stayed with you as you grew up, as you became an adult?
Probably not any of the moral lessons, because I thought they were all pretty obvious. By the time I watched it, I pretty much had my morality compass pretty set. But the whole it was really my introduction into live action Japanese cinema, TV shows, stuff like that. I mean, I'd been into anime, but this is my first kind of window into, they've got a real active live action television series, kind of setting as well. And that was really my first kind of intro into that. And Yeah. I've actually seen quite a bit of Japanese, live action stuff since then, and I've seen, I've watched a lot of the Sentai stuff. I've watched a lot of the Common Rider stuff, but I mean, there's a lot of other stuff in there as well, and it's quite a bit is very high quality. So,
as far as like for me, I don't think it really had much of an impact on me like as a kid, but rewatching it as an adult, I started to realize, oh, you know what? They always preach teamwork on Power Rangers, and I do agree that is a very valuable lesson, even for people who don't think, oh, I like to do everything myself and blah blah blah. But sometimes you gotta rely on someone else. Sometimes it pays to be part of a team because you can get things done that way. So, yeah, that's a good lesson to have, and I think more. I'm glad to see someone teaching that lesson. See, even though it's kind of obvious. All right. So even though there had been anime shown in the U.S. before, with the obvious one being Speed Racer, that was pretty big when it first hit U.S. airwaves. I don't know exactly when, probably in the 60s or 70s, but I think it's safe to say that I don't think anime really exploded in this country until the late 90s when Pokemon first aired. And at that point, it was like, whoa, oh my gosh. So, Colton, did you watch Pokemon at all growing up? And did you take anything from it?
Well, when it comes to Pokemon, I had a weird history with it where when it originally started, I originally didn't watch Pokemon when it began. I don't remember why exactly. I think it just might have been that being a child, I didn't really understand channels and schedules, so I didn't really know where to find it. But once I did, sometime around when Johto started, that's when I really started getting into Pokemon. I mean, I went back and watched earlier seasons after I started Johto, and I still really hate how the Kanto region ended, but that's another story. But I had the same. Well, speaking of Kanto, as stupid as that ending was, it sort of, I guess there was a lesson I probably would have grasped from it. It would be that, hey, sometimes things don't always go your way, but that doesn't mean it's the end of the world. You can just, brush up, pick yourself back up, and try again. Granted, they've kind of run that moral into the ground with how many times Ash has lost in the Pokemon League to do so much bullshit. But hey, hey, that's another story. But the moral still stands as a good one for kids to sort of grasp from it and whatnot. I was a bit more of a Digimon fan, but we'll get to that later.
I mean, if you want to bring up Digimon later on, you can, because I actually did not watch Digimon. I didn't care for it at all. For me, it was Pokemon all the way. Okay, Jack, were you a Pokemaniac as a kid? Did you learn anything?
Oh, yeah. I was a big Pokemaniac. I collected the trading cards. I mean, I watched the shows.
You watched the shows?
Yeah, I watched the shows. I can't really think of anything like how it helped, but I was just a big fan.
Okay. Mike, were you a Pokemaniac growing up, or was that a little past your time? And if you did watch it, what are something you took from it?
I know I watched the at least the first couple of seasons of Pokemon, here and there. I distinctly remember I had Pokemon. I think I had Pokemon Green. My sister had Pokemon Red, and my brother had Pokemon Blue, I believe. But eventually, I did get Pokemon Yellow, which I like that one. I like that one a lot more. But yeah, I kind of fall into Colton's camp. I was much more into Digimon. At least as far as the anime goes, I never had any of Digimon like little things. But I just the story. I thought the story of Digimon was much better.
We got to talk about Digimon.
I thought Pokemon was. I get what the story was, but it was kind of cut and dry. It's just he's got to try and catch all the Pokemon. Digimon, I thought there was actually a complexity to the story, so that was lacking in Pokemon. I apologize, Paul. I know you love Pokemon, but that's just me.
Yeah, I kind of like Jack. I was just I was a huge Pokemaniac when I was a kid. I collected the cards. I watched the anime. I played the games. I still have. I mean, hold on. I got it right here. I still have my cartridge of Pokemon Yellow, my little game cartridge. And I think it still works too. I'm like, oh my goodness gracious. Okay. So yeah. Again, I didn't really get any lessons it was trying to teach until I was much older, and that is the value of having at least one good friend by your side to help get you through anything. And with Ash, that's always seemed to be like Pikachu. Pikachu was always his constant companion. But I mean, yeah, sometimes even in the roughest times, having that one or two good friends by your side, it can mean all the difference in the world. And that is a lesson I certainly understand, because I've gone through quite a couple rough times in my life, and just having one or two good friends I can count on has just made everything better. So it's a good lesson to have.
So, Paul, question.
Yeah.
Are you Ash and Caleb Pikachu, or the other way around?
I plead the fifth on that.
Fair enough.
I'm sure we all cried during the first movie.
Yeah, that's the one film I can't watch again because I cry every time. I'm like, fuck you. All right. If you guys want to talk some Digimon for a few minutes, go right ahead. I'm gonna abstain from that. But when you guys are all done, I want to move on to another live action show from Japan. So, but yeah, take a couple minutes, go talk about Digimon, and let me know when you're done. All right.
All right.
I'll let Colton host this segment. So
okay.
You're up.
Digimon, digital monsters, Digimon
are web champions.
All right, Digimon. So, what I loved about this show, again, this is probably one of the first anime. I like Pokemon as much as the next guy, but I was really obsessed with the first season of Digimon, to the point that I was so disappointed when season 2 did a bit of a overhaul regarding the cast. Not a total overhaul, but I still miss the old team and what have you. But I just really love the stories, the adventures the heroes went on. But I think one of the most important lessons that I didn't really notice it growing up, but as I'm older now, I like how they sort of showed that everybody on the team, everybody is special and everybody has a unique quality to them, which was envisioned in their crests, which were, let's see here, courage, friendship, reliability, sincerity, love, hope, light, and Mike, can you back me up? I'm drawing a blank on the final two crests. So.
Oh, you've already gone way beyond what I remember, so I can't back you up there. Sorry.
Knowledge. That's it.
That's easy. Easy was knowledge.
Yeah. And that's another thing. Most people more in a lot of shows you see you can sort of tell who the main most importantly focused character is supposed to be. Whereas Digimon. Well, obviously Ty and Matt were the most important, but they always gave the spotlight to the other characters just as often as much. Like Ty and Matt weren't the only people to do the final victories, and what have you. It was always largely a team effort. We talked about teamwork earlier before, but I think this is one of the first shows I can really think of that made it very clear that teamwork was, sometimes necessary, and that it all didn't come down to just one person. Dragon Ball Z could sometimes be guilty of, but. Not that I hated Dragon Ball Z, but I love that show. But I'm just that's another story. Anyway, how is it? What'd you get out of it, Mike?
Oh, me. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, for me, I just always with Pokemon. Yeah, it was Ash had Pikachu, but he also had all his other Pokemon. So they had to give equal time they had to give Squirtle his moments, they had to give Charizard his moments, they had to give Bulbasaur his moments. With Digimon, it was the one kid and they had one monster, and that was the bond that you could see forming. I mean, and that was kind of the core. I mean, yeah, they all went off, when they got split up, they all had their own kind of little mini adventures. But it was always the core of the kid with their Digimon, and you could see that like bond grow not only between the kids and the Digimon, but also between all the kids together as well. And as the seasons went on, we got new kids, and actually the time continued. So you had advancements in the characters, not just what we saw, but also in age as well. And actually, fairly recently, they came out with I think several years ago they came out with Digimon Tri, which is the original kids are all in upper high school or college age now, but they still they actually get reconnect with their original monsters in different ways. And so I like how it's actually continuing the story over time and over ages, but it's still the same essential story. And that's what I really like. That's complexity that I didn't really ever get from Pokemon. Yeah, I'm sure Pokemon had a great story, but it lacked the layers and complexity that I was getting from Digimon.
Yeah, I agree. I'd say probably the main issue might be that Pokemon is largely sort of status quo driven sometimes, like where it changes, but not enough, I guess.
Yeah.
But you got anything to say, Jack?
Yeah, I was.
Or were you finished, Mike? Okay, Jack.
Yeah, I was big into Digimon. I mean, I had the toys and everything. I don't remember a lot of this stuff because it's been so long since I've seen Digimon. But I mean, man, that theme song is catchy, and I still remember it. Digimon, digital monsters.
The champions. That all you gotta say, Jack? Or?
Yep.
All right. Hey, Paul, we're good. You can come back now.
Okie dokie. All right, guys. So I want to move on to another show that maybe doesn't get as much attention as it should have from like Japanese show that had an impact in the U.S. But I want to talk about Iron Chef. This show is just, I mean, how do I explain Iron?
Fukusan?
Yes, go ahead, Ota.
Wait, Iron Chef is from Japan?
What?
Iron Chef is from Japan?
Yeah, it started in Japan. You can look up a lot of the original episodes on YouTube. A lot of them are there, and the dubbing is just so zany and over the top, but I think that was the charm that American audience had. It reminded them like a lot of the badly dubbed Chinese kung fu movies from the 70s. But it fit the tone because you look at some of the dishes that some of the Iron Chefs make and go, oh my goodness, that is just insane. But I mean, there was such a creativity to it, and I mean, yeah, it was a really fun show, and and it did give you an introduction like cuisine from around the world, and you're like, oh, did that look good? No, I wouldn't eat that. I particularly love the Italian Iron Chef, Kobe. I have almost all of his dishes. I'm like, I want to fucking eat those so badly. But like Colton, okay, is Colton gone or all right?
Sorry.
Okay, did you watch Iron Chef on Food Network?
No, I didn't even know it was a Japanese show.
Yeah, it started in Japan before. Yeah, the Iron Chef America, we took it from them. Okay. So yeah, I would strongly recommend you go to YouTube, type in Iron Chef Japan. There are dozens, if not hundreds, of full episodes available for you to watch. And some of the chefs there are just unreal. Some of the creations you'll see are just insane. But it's a lot of fun to watch too.
Learn something new every day. All right, thanks. I'll do so.
All right, Jack. I'm sorry, not Jack. Mike, you've been nodding so much in approval. So I take it you watched Iron Chef a lot. The original Iron Chef.
I watched it as soon as it premiered. It premiered. The first episode that they dubbed and brought into the Food Network was the premiere episode of
Morimoto.
Chef. Yeah, Morimoto. And I watched that religiously. I love that. In fact, I kid you not. I actually paused. I was in order to do this hangout, I actually paused. I was watching Iron Chef, the 74th Iron Chef battle. There's a tofu battle. And I've actually got it minimized on my screen right now. I've got a whole bunch of the original Japanese ones downloaded, and I've actually got I was watching one before I join this thing. So yeah, I loved this show. It's hard to beat Iron Chef Japanese 1, Rokusaburo Michiba.
Yep.
But yeah, Kobe holds a dubious distinction. He was the only Iron Chef to lose his debut battle.
Yes, indeed. Was there a particular Iron Chef where you would look at his dishes and you're like, that looks so mouth-watering?
Yeah, actually, there was. It was like I think the 300th challenger or something. It was a
Dominique Corby. It was
yes.
The tofu. No. The foie gras
battle. Yeah,
yes.
Against Iron Chef Chen Kenichi, and it was an overtime. They tied
overtime,
and they did an asparagus battle.
Yep.
And they tied again. It was the only time it's ever done a double.
That's ever happened. Yep.
And I'm not gonna lie, those. I've never really eaten foie gras, but those dishes on both sides look just. I was watering watching that battle.
Oh yeah. For me, one of the battles that really stands out. It was Kobe facing off against an Italian chef, Franco, and the main ingredient was, and the theme was tomatoes. The dishes they would come up with. Oh, good Lord. I was salivating. Like I had a drool coming out. Woo. Yeah, you want to check that one out if you haven't seen it. Yeah, it was such a. There are 2 tomato battles they've done. I think it was the second one. All right, so let's move on. Yeah, check out the original Iron Chef from Japan if you have not seen it. But anyway, let's move on to Dragon Ball Z, because I think when it comes to anime, I don't think there's an anime that's as popular for such a time, and even today has its popularity, continue as high as it does since Dragon Ball Z has. Like even 20 years after it came out in the U.S., it is still a huge thing. I think Mike just said it. Last week, the 4th highest grossing film in America was the dub of Dragon Ball Super Broly movie. So, 20 years later, it is still a huge thing. So, Colton, did you watch Dragon Ball Z growing up, and did you learn anything from it?
That's another show where I had a weird scheduling relationship with it, where one day I'm just randomly flipping through the channels, and I come across Dragon Ball Z, and I have no idea it's the very first episode, and I have no idea what the hell is going on. I see Raditz showing up, he's speaking like he meets Piccolo, then suddenly Raditz is ranting about someone called Kakarot, and I'm not sure what's going on, but I'm a child, so I'm thinking, okay, I'll just keep looking and see what's up. Then suddenly Raditz meets Goku, knocks him out, and then suddenly the narrator comes out and it's like, to be continued. I'm like, wait, what? And so I wanted to know what happens next, only I didn't know the show's schedule. So it took me so long to actually see the Saiyan saga in its entirety, because I had to I think that was during the original failed run of the first
Ocean dub.
At the first attempt at dubbing Dragon Ball Z, so it took me a while to actually. It took until the show got transferred over to Cartoon Network for me to actually see the whole story from start to finish without having, for the most part. I think it wasn't until actually the Buu saga was probably the first saga I saw all the way through from start to finish, because the Cell saga took me a while to sort of get that one straightened out. But yeah, the show, I didn't really get any real lessons from it. Well, I kind of did, but overall, it was just the kind of thing that I just really, I just sat back and just had a good time watching. It was probably one of the first serialized animes I ever saw where you had to tune in to the next episode to see what was going on, rather than like with Pokemon, how you can pretty much jump in at any point and largely understand what's going on. Digimon had its fair share of filler episodes, and okay, so did Dragon Ball Z, but they still had a very large overreaching arc that was something I hadn't really been exposed to in a TV show at that point.
All right, Jack, were you a Dragon Ball Z fan as a kid?
Yeah, I was. I really liked that Dragon Ball Z. I can't really think of any lessons, but it was really good. I fell out of it in my later years, and then a couple of years ago, I got back into it, and I just saw the movie, and it was really good. And if you guys want a good, funny way to know what's going on, you should check out Team 4 Stars Dragon Ball Z Abridged.
I love that series.
Did you take anything away from your time watching Dragon Ball Z, Jack? Did you learn anything from it?
Not that I can think of.
All right. Mike, I know we've talked about Dragon... Actually, I don't know. I mean, have we talked about Dragon Ball Z a lot? I know that we talked about Pokemon Power Rangers, but I don't know about Dragon Ball Z.
Probably not a long sustained conversation, no. But I mean, we both know that each other have been into it. Yeah.
Okay. Was there anything you took away from it that you tried to apply to yourself as you grow up or got into in life?
Actually, I'm kind of gonna piggyback off what Colton said. It was really one of the first series that I can recall watching where it was a sustained story over multiple episodes. Sometimes far too many episodes. Like
5 minutes and the planet explodes.
I mean, how many episodes did it take for Goku to fill up that damn spirit bomb? I mean, seriously.
I think it was like 4 or 5 episodes or something.
Dude, really? No. Just no. 2 episodes max. Thank you. But in any case, I mean, most series at the time were just, one and done Monster of the Week. Most even American series were just Monster of the Week, whereas this one, it was a sustained multiple episodes. I mean, it could take 20, 30 episodes, sometimes too many. That's too many. But 20 or 30 episodes to do an entire story arc, and that was it was one of the first times I saw a show that did that. I got a guilty pleasure. It's not everybody's favorite, but my favorite story arc is probably Gohan in school.
It was a funny arc.
So
I can't deny that.
Yeah.
I mean, you just know this is easily one of the most powerful beings on the planet, and he's just going to school. He's trying to impress the girl, and the fact that he makes that great Saiyaman costume, and everybody thinks it's the worst looking costume ever, except for his kid brother.
Yeah.
That easily one of my favorite arcs in the entire series.
Let me just tell you my name. I am he who does not allow evil, the champion of justice. I am the great Saiyaman.
Yeah, and it was, and sadly, the fact that they used that premise to do the Dragon Ball Evolution movie, which I saw in theaters, and I cannot get that time back.
Father God, protect the Mike in this. Help him get over it.
Please no. Please no. No,
Seriously, they wanted a character to go to school. Why not just adapt the storyline that actually happens?
I don't want to watch the movie anymore.
Okay. Well, Mike struggles. You've probably heard me talk about how much I love Dragon Ball Z. I mean, I own all the seasons. I own all the movies. I mean, except Dragon Ball Evolution. The closest I ever got to seeing it was watching the Nostalgia Critics review of it. That's the closest I ever got. And he rightfully ripped that film several assholes.
I like Spike so much in Buffy. Why did he become Piccolo? What the fuck?
All right. So yeah, again, like a lot of the shows, I didn't really necessarily get any lessons from it, as a kid, but it hit me later in life, the big one, and that is the importance of not giving up. And I think that's personified so well when Goku's fighting Frieza, because for much of the battle, he's getting his ass kicked. I think most people would have just said, you know what, I can't do it anymore, go ahead and kill me, but Goku didn't. He knew he couldn't. The fate of the universe was on his shoulders. He could not let up. And I think that is a valuable lesson for anyone to learn, because life is hard. It sucks. It's unfair. It is going to beat you down relentlessly, and it'll keep you there if you let it. You have to, you can't give up. You have to keep fighting, even though you may not want to. So, yeah, a very great lesson to have, and that's a big reason why Goku's always been a big hero to me. I always admire that about it. Like, no matter what, he would not quit, even though he's not exactly the brightest bulb in the room. He's pretty stupid. But
one really important thing though is he had over 9,000.
That Frieza's power level is over 1 million.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say, Funimation, please re-release the Ocean Dub. I want to own that again. I want to experience that cheesiness again. Okay. Before we continue, because there's another show I wanted to bring up. Mike, you have a story about another very famous anime that came out, I think, around the same time as Pokemon did, that kind of catapulted anime into mainstream, and that's Sailor Moon. If I can't think of a show that made, that dressed 15-year-old girls into skimpy outfits, but you have a story to tell. I take it. Hopefully, keep it PG, please, or PG-13.
Well, no, it's very PG.
Okay.
Well, basically, I consider Sailor Moon actually one of my very first animes. I mean, I'd seen like Voltron before that, but I hadn't considered that as an anime because I didn't know what it was at the time. But Sailor Moon, I did recognize it as an anime, and I watched it, in mid-90s, I think it came out. And I was just I was so taken with it, and yeah, sure, short skirts, fine. But there was, like with Power Rangers, there was this core concept of teamwork and working together, and positivity and light. And I really enjoyed that so much that when we first got the internet, I managed to get myself onto a play by email RPG based on Sailor Moon. And it was through that I actually first met my girlfriend.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
That is cool.
So
Wow.
if not for Sailor Moon and anime in Japan, I would not have my girlfriend today.
That is very cool.
Yeah.
Great story. All right. The last one that I had planned before I I'll let you guys talk about someone else. I want to talk about another, I want to talk about another anime that made huge waves, and that's Yu-Gi-Oh! This anime had an explosion, especially maybe not as far as the anime went, but the card game was it became such a huge hit. I remember in middle school, every table in the cafeteria had a Duel Monster game going on. It was just such a huge thing. So, Colton, did you watch Yu-Gi-Oh! At all? Did you duel at all? Did you take anything from it?
I didn't play the card games, but I did watch the show. It was probably the first anime that I not only actually might have been the first anime that I was able to. Okay, no, that was Digimon. It was one of the few animes I've seen where I actually started at the beginning of the series and actually managed to get to the end. I'm getting confused about the schedules or episode release or anything like that. And it's silly as this might sound, this one lesson to really draw from the show is themes of the power of friendship and belief. The characters always preached about that, but having people there to back you up and even cheer you on, a lot of the villains always found that to be silly, but it's actually a very powerful thing, just to know that you have that support keeping you to help drive you on, and that's Yuki kind of literally weaponizes that, in a couple of instances, in the first season when he's dueling Pegasus and the Pharaoh. When the Pharaoh is dueling Pegasus, Yuki's been taken out of commission and uses the power of his friends reaching out to him to block Pegasus from reading his mind. That is a very heartwarming moment.
Oh yeah,
and of course the show had its fair share of badass moments too. I had no idea what Yu-Gi-Oh was about when I first started watching it, but the second Yuki drew Exodia and blew Kaiba's Blue Eyes White Dragons away, I was instantly hooked.
Oh yeah, I think that was it for everyone who saw that first time. The moment we saw that, woo! All right, Jack, you don't look too enthusiastic. I think you didn't watch Yu-Gi-Oh.
No, I did watch Yu-Gi-Oh! I was a fan of Yu-Gi-Oh! Actually.
Okay.
I was really into it. I didn't really learn much from it. I never played the card games, and I do have to say, one thing that I didn't like was that awful first movie that they made. That movie was so boring.
Yeah, it wasn't. I actually saw that in theaters, believe it or not.
So
And what sucks is it takes place after the Battle City tournament, so I was still in the middle of it. The anime was still in the middle. I was like, oh, great, way to spoil it, assholes. So that kind of pissed me off. Mike, you disappeared for a while. Were you grabbing something?
No, I was trying to find because I know I've got at least 1 or 2 Yu-Gi-Oh cards around here somewhere. I couldn't find them, unfortunately.
Okay.
I saw like a few episodes of the anime. I never really gotten into it. I'd gotten into like Ranma 1/2 and Tenchi Muyo at that point, so I was kind of more mature anime. I guess Ranma and Tenchi are a little bit more mature, but a little bit older age bracket, shall we say?
Okay.
But I did play a few of the games. Never really heavily though. It was more of, hey, this is kind of fun. Play it for a few months and let's try this other game now. That was about it.
All right. Yeah, I really got into Yu-Gi-Oh. I still have my deck assembled. I've had it assembled for 15 years now, and I've bought a lot of the recent collectors. I got a whole Tupperware, a tub case of my boxes of Yu-Gi-Oh cards assembled. And funny story, I watched the anime religiously for several years, but once I moved to Alaska, we didn't get Warner Brothers, so I was only like halfway through the Battle City tournament when I stopped watching. So it took me like 10 years later before I was finally able to finish watching the entire series. And while I won't spoil it for anyone, the ending just choked me up a lot. But this is really the first show that I can say like I knew where I got a valuable lesson immediately, and that is, the importance of having faith in something, especially something higher than yourself. And I think that's a big reason why Yugi and the Pharaoh always seemed to come out on top. It wasn't, even though they were fantastic duelists, they weren't always the best, but they won because they trusted in something higher than themselves. And you see that when either Yugi or the Pharaoh loses that faith, they get their asses handed to them. And then when they regain it, all of a sudden they're the best again. So that was a very powerful lesson that I took away from Yu-Gi-Oh! And I hope it's a lesson anyone who watched it took away from. So yeah, that's for that reason, Yu-Gi-Oh! Had a profound impact on me. And Dark Side of Dimensions, very good movie. Check it out if you haven't seen it. If you finished the original anime and wanted to catch up with these classic characters of one last time. All right, so that was the final one that, like, the main one I wanted to bring up. I want to discuss. Does anyone else have any other animes that they want to bring up before we wrap this up? Colton?
Yeah, well, Mike just brought this up a short while back, but I wanted to say one other thing about Sailor Moon, and it's PG. Don't worry. Well, first off, I thought it was interesting. Yeah, it was one of the first shows that saw as a kid where the leads were all women and what have you, and that was that was pretty interesting, especially compared to all the other anime where the dudes were usually in charge or what have you. But I also one thing I liked about it was that I think it was one of the first shows I ever saw where the heroes actually offered the villains a chance to redeem themselves. I don't remember what arc they were. I think they were maybe in the arc that was after Queen Beryl and the that weird alien tree or something. I think it was the Mega Moon family arc or something. The Four Sisters, I don't remember what their names were, but it was when the battle got really tough between them and one of them actually started to break down. Sailor Mars actually took pity on her and asked her if she wanted to change, and she ultimately decided that she did, and Sailor Moon even purified her. And I liked how that message was that, it was one of the first times I saw where the message wasn't that, just because someone is against you doesn't mean that they can't be changed. It's not always, it's not the antagonists aren't always the villains, I guess you could say. And so that's a good message to send to kids that not everything is going to end with people dying. So that there is a way to sometimes change them, which is a bit of a hope. It's a good hopeful lesson. So what I'm trying to get at.
All right, cool. Jack, any other animes that you wanted to talk about real quick?
No, I just wanted to thank Toonami for showing a lot of anime back in the day.
Yeah, it's absolutely. We owe a lot to Toonami, and it's glad to have it back. It's glad to have Toonami back.
Toonami's back?
Yeah, how do you think I've been watching Dragon Ball Super? Toonami's on every Saturday night on Cartoon Network.
I haven't watched Cartoon Network in years, to be honest. Probably around the time they originally stopped doing Toonami.
Well, now you know.
I think the last anime I ever watched was Naruto. Sometime during that period where they entered like filler for a year or something like that.
Well, now you know. All right.
Awesome.
Mike, any other animes that you wanted to bring up?
Well, first off, I did want to show this off. This is my Tenchi Muyo DVD set of the original OAVs, and this was actually the very first DVD I ever purchased.
Wow.
Very first DVD box set I ever purchased. I still got it. Still love it. But actually, one of this anime just started like 3 years ago. My Hero Academia. It's also my shirt here as well. But the reason why this show has become such a huge hit all globally is because it's taken like the kind of like the story of like just superheroes, but it's doing it really, really right. Like everybody, like they all have superpowers, but their superpowers have limitations that make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, but it's kind of like basically it's a world where 80% of the population have superpowers, and so they've kind of heroes are kind of like they're heroes for hire essentially. And there are some villains out there that actually take offense at that and think that destroys the kind of ideal of a hero. A hero is supposed to be someone that does good and noble things for the sake of doing good and noble things, not because you're getting a paycheck from it. And so like the number one hero of the world, this All Might, right? This guy right here, who I think should be played by The Rock in a live action, personally. He's got a successor in the main character of the show right here, Izuku, and that's kind of like the lessons he's trying to put her is that you need to be a hero to do what's right, not because you're going to get paid, you're going to be popular. You may get, you get paid, you may become popular, but you need to be a hero because you need to save people. You need to do what's right. And I think that is a very, very, very important lesson to learn, and not only back when we were kids, but right now as well.
All right, very cool, very cool.
I agree, Mike. I love My Hero Academia.
One last anime I want to bring up, and because I enjoyed it as a kid, but I found out later in life that it was heavily edited, and I'm like, well, shit, now I want to see the unedited version, and that's Cardcaptors. This was really the first show that I watched. Because I think I started watching it before Powerpuff Girls came out. This is the first show I watched where the star was a female character, and I really liked her. I also liked Lee. I liked Madison. I liked the character. Kira was a funny character. It was such a fun, it was a fun, exciting show, and I'm like, unfortunately, I never saw the end of it. I'm like, damn it! For some reason, they didn't air the final episode, or they did, and I missed it. And they only showed it once. I'm like, well, shit, that sucks. And then I find out later in life that I got older that again they heavily edited it from the original Japanese run. The original Japanese run was 70 episodes, and when they dubbed it in America, they edited it down to like 39 to make it more action oriented. I'm like, well, shit. But then I found out like it had a different dub in Canada, which did last a full 70 episodes, and the only thing they really took out was a homosexual relationship that Sakura's brother and his best friend had. Like, that's really the only thing that Canadian dub took out. Other than that, they kept it intact. And I'm like, I want to watch that. Like, and I wish I could find it somewhere. Like, I want to find like a DVD set that has it, but I can't find it, so it's kind of upsetting. But yeah, like, can someone like re-release that on DVD, Blu-ray? Like, somebody release a Canadian dub, please. Let's go. Or maybe the Canadian dub with like the American theme song, because that theme song was awesome.
What show?
Yeah. Cardcaptors.
I've never even heard of this.
Yeah, like I said, it only ran for 39 episodes. I edited 39 episodes in the U.S. It didn't run for very long.
Was it on the WB or Fox Kids or one of the two in the 90s?
4Kids, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, 4Kids was renowned for hacking the hell out of all of the dubs that they did.
Not 4Kids. I said Fox Kids.
Well, same thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
All right, guys. So that's gonna wrap it up.
Actually, they did the same thing with Sailor Moon when it came over. They when they did the original dub, they hacked the shit out of it. I mean, they did take out another homosexual relationship in that one as well.
Yeah, made them cousins, but didn't change the context of their scenes. So it's like, holy incest.
Yeah.
Funny thing about the butchering of Sailor Moon is that I heard that there was one season where the Sailor Scouts were all supposed to die in one sequence, but they didn't show it. But then they referenced the fact that they were dead later on when they got brought back to life. So
the first season finale. It was actually in Japan. It was a 2-episode that they in the dub they converted into 1 episode, and each Sailor Scout had a really pretty traumatic death scene. And their spirits actually came back at the end to help Sailor Moon defeat Queen Metalia. And they butchered the hell out of that. They took out every bit of emotion and sentimentality out of that episode. I mean, there were good moments in it. And actually, there were some good songs in the original dub, but they did a really, really butchered job with it.
Maybe that should be the topic of our next show: bad censorship jobs.
I'm sure we can think of something for that. All right, guys. So that's gonna wrap up our discussion on Japanese shows. It was interesting learning about the impact that these shows had. It just goes to show you that Japan had some fantastic shows and they teach some good life lessons. I'm glad we get to taste them here. I get a good look at. I'm glad we get to see them here in America. So. Colton, Jack, Mike, thank you all very much for being here. This was fun.
Happy to be here, man.
Always glad to talk anime.
Yeah, it was fun to talk about the childhood. And 2 days left till Kingdom Hearts 3, finally.
Yeah, I know Caleb's going to be playing that like nonstop.
Yeah, now we have to wait 7 more years for the Final Fantasy VII remake.
Yeah, but that's just a remake, so who cares?
Well, I do. I love that game.
Hey, remakes can work, and so not everybody played the original game. I didn't play the original game. I mean, all I know about it is, what happens to Aerith.
Yeah, I didn't even have a PlayStation, so I didn't play it. So, all right, guys. So we'll see you next week. Have a great night, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.